Hello and welcome to Rethink's Outsourcing for Accounting and VAT. My name's David and I am Partner and Director for CFO and Tax Services. And I have with me Kirthi, who is the Senior Tax Manager. So Kirthi, tell me, what's outsourcing all about?
Sure, David. Outsourcing in simple terms, can be explained as allocation of internal business processes to a third-party specialist, often resulting in higher efficiency. Outsourcing is flexible by nature and it is ideal in times of transition, and it can add significant value to the company's bottom line. Particularly in case of a rapidly changing environment like now, by way of outsourcing, companies can easily adapt to changes and challenges while improvising service levels and generating cost savings. That's about outsourcing, David. How would a company benefit from outsourcing?
Well, there are a lot of advantages to outsourcing. It allows entrepreneurs, particularly for startups, to focus on what they do best and their key strengths, which at that early stage will be growing the business and facing the clients. It's an efficient process as well. The companies you're outsourcing to are used to doing this day in and day out. It's cost efficient because you're not employing somebody to do an awful lot of these things, and that allows you to create cost savings and reinvest in the business. You've got a lot of continuity. You're not reliant on one person, for example, but you've got a team behind you. And funny enough, it allows you to be more competitive because you've got leverage to knowledge and skills that perhaps may have been absent in your original firm to start off before you started outsourcing. So Kirthi, with that in mind, give us some background as to what can specifically be outsourced for VAT.
Sure, David. From a VAT perspective, a business can outsource VAT advisory, for example, reviewing the commercial contracts and business transactions at the time of issuing the invoice itself will ensure that you have the right tax code, the right tax rate, to avoid any penalties in the future. Businesses can also outsource system setup. Having the right tax codes in the system will ensure you get a right, accurate VAT return. Businesses can outsource monthly or VAT returns, monthly or quarterly VAT returns. Having a third party to review the VAT returns will ensure that it is free from any human errors. Businesses can also outsource registration, deregistration, or amendment applications. The key here is to give the right information, otherwise FTA can resubmit or request you to resubmit or reject the application. Last but not the least, businesses can also outsource refund applications and voluntary disclosures. Giving the right explanations in the voluntary disclosures will help the company in not red flagging them in the future. So that's from a VAT perspective, David. What can business outsource from accounting perspective?
Well, from accounting, the outsourcing opportunities are quite broad. So for very early startup companies, you can outsource the implementation of operating systems, for example, which will address accounting, inventory systems, and CRM, customer relationship management systems. We can, for smaller firms as well, outsource the accounting, which may only be quarterly or indeed monthly, and we can give a detailed analytic for that so we can tell what the direction of the company is and whether or not that's where the entrepreneur would like it to be. Outsourcing allows you to look at and supplying that outsourcing service at all levels, from data entry right through to the most senior CFO. It allows us to look at and take away the financial filings, statutory financial filings, license renewals, for example. For larger firms, that means you can outsource portions of your accounting, say, for example, accounts receivable or accounts payable, for example. But if you even wanted to, you could go the whole hog and outsource the entire department. So that's a very strong and clear way of making sure that you're as efficient as you possibly can be by making sure somebody else does that. So what are we? We are Rethink. We are a specialist in business outsourcing. We are part of the business community of Dubai. We'd like to think ourselves as the go-to people for outsourcing outsourced services, including tax, accounting, HR, and business advisory. Now, if you need to know anything more about what we've talked about today, feel free to get in touch with either myself or Kirthi. Thank you very much.
Thank you.